KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
It's the Workers Beat. 972-647-1893 is the number. I am here. This is Gene Lantz and Bonnie Mathias.
That would be me. Good morning.
Thank you for being here, Bonnie.
Yes, sir.
It's the day after International Women's Day, so we're going to have to talk about women, and we look forward to that. Let me tell you some stuff that's going on, though. It's too much. It's making my head swim. There's so many things going on. What a time to be alive. They want us to call our members of Congress now and tell them to repeal sequestration.
Yes.
To just throw it out. They didn't have to do it. They could have not done it. They did it anyway, and the AFL-CIO is asking us to call them and tell them to repeal it. That's the cuts that they put into effect on March the 1st. The number to call is 888-659-9401. 888-659-9401. I think what happens when you call that number is they ask you your zip code, and then they connect you to your congressperson.
That's right.
Or if you just tell them you're from Texas, you get both. You get your choice of
Ted Cruz or Mr. Gordon.
Whichever
just
senator
flip a
you
coin.
want. But, the calls are important, or they wouldn't be asking us to do it.
That's right.
Monday is Teachers Lobby Day in Austin. Bus seats may still be available, but I'm not sure if they are or not. They ask for a $25 deposit, but you get the money back when you get on the bus. And here's a number to call for that. If you want to go to Austin with us on Monday. You're going, Bonnie.
I am, sir.
And so am I. 214-274-2972. 214-274-2972. The woman's name is Gabriela Villa. On March the 20th, a National Day of Action, the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans will spearhead this action at the Social Security office on North Central at 10 o'clock in the morning on March the 20th. And that address is 10824 North Central Expressway.
That's not very far from Mr. Cruz's office, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, I think you get there the exact same way.
Okay.
If you're going north, you get off on Walnut Hill and stay on the service road. It's 10824 North Central Expressway, and here's their number. I don't know if you want to call their number. You want to call Judy Bryant and ask her for information if you need more information.
And what time is that on Wednesday?
That'll be
on the 20th, rather.
On the 20th, it'll be 10 a.m.
Excellent.
Is that a Wednesday?
I think so.
Okay, anyway, it's a National Day of Action, and for the AFL-CIO. So the retirees are just kind of spearheading an action, just make sure they get one. April the 20th is also TSEU Lobby Day.
I thought that was April 10th.
Okay, April 10th.
April 10th.
You're right. April 10th is TSEU Lobby Day. That's the Texas State Employees Union Lobby Day.
And CWA.
And they're part of CWA.
That's right.
Now, it's going to cost you $15 to take their bus. And all I have is their webpage, which is cwa-tseu.org. cwa-tseu.org. That's to help the public employees. And it's not, I want people to help with this, but it's not because I like one union better than another one or something like that. What's happening is this. There's a worldwide crunch going on. It's not just in Texas, not just in the United States. It's a worldwide crunch. And the main target, or the first target, seems to be public employees, and particularly their retirement rights.
We've seen it all over
Texas
the country.
is after the retirement rights for their public employees. That's a bill that's in the legislature now. So, if you want to focus your efforts, I mean, there are so many things going on. It's very hard to keep track. But if you want to focus your efforts on what's the main problem. The main problem right now is an economic crisis that's being focused in on, particularly on retirees, but particularly on public employees. So the Texas State Employees Union and the teachers are good places to rally, good places to focus your efforts. Now, I don't mean to distract from everything else that's going on, because I know, and you may be able to do more for one thing than you could for another, and you may care more about one thing than you do for another. But it's just my opinion that the biggest problem going on is the worldwide economic crisis being where the very, very wealthy people are trying to scapegoat and make the people pay, and the people that they're particularly after is the public employees and the retirees of the public jobs, because I think it's because they're the most vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's because they can be had.
Right, they don't have a right to strike.
Yeah.
They really don't have collective bargaining rights.
Not in Texas.
Not
no.
in Texas, so it's ripe for the pickings for the legislators.
That's why in the state of Wisconsin last year they had such a big hullabaloo, because what the governor of Wisconsin was wanting to do and actually ended up doing was taking away their right to defend themselves. They had collective bargaining, and he was out to destroy their ability to defend themselves.
And what a good job of it he did.
I'm sorry to say it's true. The reason that they want to take away your right to defend yourself, the reason for voter suppression, and the reason that there are so many efforts made to take away your right to organize and form unions, is because they're after everything else. But first they want to disarm you. First they want to get so that you can't defend yourself.
And that doesn't mean weapons, guns.
No.
I mean, it means
the ability to organize more than anything else.
Exactly.
It means your legal rights, your right to vote, your right to participate in politics. 972-647-1893 is the number. You don't have to believe me and Bonnie. You can call and give your own opinion.
Absolutely.
And
we welcome that.
We don't even get mad if you disagree with us.
Well, I do, but I don't show it. to you anyway. That's
Well, let's take this call. Becky's on the line, and we really need to talk to this particular Becky.
Okay.
Good morning, Becky. Thanks for calling Knon.
Good morning. Good morning.
Becky, good morning.
You're kicking off the very thing we want to talk about, which is women in the workforce and women that are helping other women. Becky, are there women that you look to and admire?
Oh, certainly. There's any number of women that I've looked up to all my life and admire, and I have learned so much from women. Rosa Walker is one who also comes out of CWA like I do.
Communication workers.
Right. She's also retired from the AFL-CIO now, but she trained many of us to know what was important for women in the workforce, and any number of staff representatives over my career that I've worked with, and of course, Ann Richards for governor. She was a role model for many women to get active and realize that you were in charge of your own destiny.
Yeah, and stand up to this male-dominated society.
Amen.
Right.
We talked about this a little bit last week, and we agreed that the woman that we admire the most today, Becky, is you. You're head of the Texas AFL-CIO. You're vice president of the Southern Region for the National AFL-CIO, and you're kicking butt in changing the labor movement and improving the labor movement. Is that not true?
Well, you are so kind to say that, but you know what? This labor movement is what gives many of us women our voice. When I was a young girl in the workplace, we had so few rights, and we really worked to organize our particular workplace. And we got pregnancy considered a disability when I was quite a young activist. We got the right to bid on what used to be all male jobs. Because even in our collective bargaining agreement, at one point there were female jobs and they were male jobs. And the union is the one who helped us fight the company on that. And now we have women in non-traditional jobs, and we have men in non-traditional male jobs. And I think that collective bargaining is a great equalizer between the sexes.
So if people want justice in this world, they need to get organized, right?
They need to get organized, and they need to have a voice in their workplace and a voice in their a voice at the city hall, a voice at the county commission, and in this day and time, absolutely a voice at the Texas legislature.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
Tina, I have one story. I just want to tell you if you have a minute. I don't know how rushed you are, but I do have one friend who was the traditional displaced homemaker. About 56, she found herself being divorced for a younger woman, lost her health insurance with her divorce, and she has been dependent ever since then on Planned Parenthood for mammograms and pap smears. Women's health issues. And now we've taken that away from women like that. And I think it is terribly sad that we have women who, through no fault of their own, have no health insurance. We've taken away access to women's health care in the state government. And now we're even going to further make it worse by refusing the federal Medicaid dollars. These are women's issues. Maybe
Yes, they
not
are.
organized women, maybe not organized women, because we have managed to hold on to our health care in organized workplaces. But you know what? We all have aunts and sisters and mothers who have lost their health care. And you know what happens when you don't take care of your health care? You die.
Yep, that's it.
And that's about how much they care, too.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Becky Moeller, tell us a little bit about the changes that are going on in the labor movement, because I just saw an essay from your communications director, Ed Sills, talking about how the union movement is embracing the civil rights movement and seeking allies among everybody, and how is that going here in Texas? Did we lose her?
I think we lost her.
I think we lost her. Well, maybe you want to comment, Bonnie. That Ed Sills, the communications director for the Texas AFL-CIO, and I really want to recommend that everybody get his news service. You get it by writing him. It's ed at texasaflcio.org, and it's all one word, texasaflcio, and then .org. He said that labor is seeking allies in the community, and he says they always have, but I think it's much more pronounced now. I think this is much more today than ever before.
We have to.
And
We can't survive without reaching out to community organizations, faith-based organizations, because we are all after the same thing, socioeconomic justice.
Right.
And as the labor movement shrinks, and in some cases, certainly no fault of our own. We were just discussing how many union members we will lose over the next few years here in the DFW Metroplex. We've just lost a nice chunk from Yellow Pages. We're going to lose some more before that's over. I know your union is going to be suffering some losses over the next few years.
It's very likely, yes.
Attrition, companies downsizing. We cannot continue to build the movement and move anything forward without making friends outside of the labor movement.
And we're working on it.
Yes.
And that's a really good thing. It used to be, but despite what Ed Sills says, I think that it used to be up until, say, 1995, specifically 1995. Up until then, I think labor kind of held itself aloof and kind of stayed away from other people's actions, afraid to get sued for a lot of the reason. Okay. I think that there's been a problem in the past of labor being kind of isolated from the rest of the movement, and yet today, last night I was at the Immigrants' Rights Forum, with Congressman Mark Veazey and his guest, Congressman Luis Gutierrez from Chicago, who is the expert on immigration. And they were saying that the immigration movement is a movement that requires everybody's help. And I was really, really proud that I had my AFL-CIO shirt on, because we passed a resolution at the Dallas AFL-CIO, and you were there.
Yes, sir.
Just a month ago, in full support of the AFL-CIO's position on immigration, which is in favor of it.
Yes.
We're in favor
absolutely
of immigration reform, and we're in favor of a path to citizenship. We're not ashamed of this. And individuals may not feel that way.
Right.
And we don't care, because...
Well, they need to wake up and smell the coffee.
Well, yeah, but I don't... I'm with Malcolm X on this. I don't really care how you feel about it. I just want you to recognize that if you want to eat, if you want to win anything, you have to have allies. You have to have these other guys. Yeah. You can't win without them.
That's right.
If you let the labor movement being split by your feelings, or your superstitions, or your religion, or whatever it is, if you allow yourself to be split like that, you're just going to be weaker.
That's right.
And if you were ever in the military, you know that you have to pull together, whether you like the guy or not.
That's it.
Whether you're friends or not, whether you're pals or not, whether you want to sleep with them or not, you still have to pull together or lose.
That's it.
So you have two choices. You can work with other people, or you can just drop out and die. You can give up, because you ain't going to win until you get with the rest of the program. So the labor movement is strongly in favor of immigration reform, and it's paying off for labor.
Yes.
A lot of new union members are Latinos.
That's right.
And those Latinos are in favor of immigration reform too. The same with women. I think that there was a time when the labor movement tended to ignore women, and as President Becky Moeller was just telling us, there was a time when women who got pregnant, that was considered a disability,
yep.
and they were not. They had no insurance coverage for
That's
it.
Yeah.
The union didn't negotiate anything for pregnancy.
For women.
They acted as if as if it were. That you had come to the workplace with a disabled or something, instead of being a natural phenomenon. And people like Becky Moeller fought for that, and I think that was one of her early accomplishments, was to get the unions to negotiate pregnancy rights for women workers, so that the families could still stay together, and so that women could still have some kind of a chance in the workplace.
She's an awesome woman. We talked about who she looks up to, and I look up to her. I mean, she is a strong woman. It's not that many years ago, there weren't very many women in leadership roles in unions.
And when they were tokens.
Exactly.
When they were largely tokens.
And Linda Chavez Thompson.
Now there's a woman.
No, I'm telling you, she is 4'11" and every bit as big as a 6 foot, 200-pound or 300-pound linebacker. Let me tell you, she is a spitfire.
I was so proud when she came up here and sat in this chair and did this program with us, because she was a real breakthrough woman.
Yes.
And not somebody that was a token or a symbol or something like that.
She was a worker.
She was out there in the field working with everybody.
Right.
Did you ever get a chance to go out? I went to California one time to help the farm workers out there, and she was the main speaker, and she was magnificent.
She is. She definitely is.
We'll be right back talking more about women and talking about your issues. 972-647-1893 is the number. Be right back.
I got to work this morning. Something seemed kind of strange. My body...
My grandfather, he loved the boogie. His father, he loved it too. My daddy loved the boogie.
Big Bill Morganfield is coming back.
That's right, the Son of Muddy Waters in Dallas this Saturday night for a big Knon Blues benefit event at Port David's Pub.
Big Bill will be playing his father's guitars during this rare Dallas appearance.
Get there early. We'll have free barbecue from the Alligator Cafe.
Also appearing will be the Super Kings and Susie Q and the Shafts, featuring James Hinkle.
Join us for this very special blues event.
Tickets are available now at knon.org, Bill's Records, and Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie.
This Saturday, March 9th, it's Big Bill Morganfield with the Super Kings and Susie Q and the Shafts, featuring James Hinkle at Port David's Pub. And don't forget that free barbecue dinner from the Alligator Cafe.
Port David's Pub is located at 1313 South Lamar in Dallas.
We'll see you there. This is a Knon benefit event.
GoodSearch.com provides a way for you to support nonprofits like KNON with your online shopping and dining. GoodSearch.com offers a downloadable toolbar for searching from your computer called Good App, so your purchases can support KNON. With Good Dining, every time you go out to eat at participating restaurants, then a portion of what you spend gets donated to KNON. Registering is easy at GoodSearch.com, and KNON 89.3 is the name to enter in your account settings for charity selection. Support KNON with your online shopping and dining at GoodSearch.com.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like
a slave all day. I used to be on Mondays, and so that was a little more appropriate. 214-972-647-1893 is our phone number, and we look forward to hearing from you. We've been talking about women and the great difference that they've made. We actually got a chance to talk to Becky Moeller, and that's who I admire the most in the labor movement today. And I'm not just talking about around here or even in Texas. I'm talking about in the labor movement today. There is nobody like Becky Moeller.
She's pretty special.
She's not only been a strong leader and a really good leader, but she's advancing the labor movement. And, we think of ourselves in Texas as living in the muck and morass of prehistoric days, But that is not true of the labor movement here.
No, we are very progressive in the labor movement.
Yeah, and Becky has been recognized and made a Southern region vice president. So she's a wheel in the whole national AFL-CIO. She's one of the people that goes to those big national meetings when they make the big programmatic changes, and she. First of all, she gets the AFL-CIO out on progressive causes.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't just say the community should be helping us. She goes out and helps the community. But they do more than that. They don't just call for help, and make statements in working together with the rest of the community. She actually goes
and gets out.
She gets out there and she takes the staff with her, and she's got protest signs for everything, because she's right out there with them. And one good example of that was during the upsurge of Occupy, which was 2 years ago and somewhat last year, and still going on. I don't mean to take away from it, but there was an upsurge, and it was kind of hard to figure out what they were for, what they were against exactly, but you knew they were doing stuff. And there was Becky Moeller right out there with them, little grandmother, and and white hair and all, and as good an activist as you'll ever find,
I must say,
is the president of the Texas AFL-CIO.
We are very blessed to have her in a leadership role here in the state.
Yeah.
She's got a great staff in Austin. We got really good folks that are running the show.
Young and old.
Young and old. That's right. I really am trying and reaching out to this next generation, and trying to help them to understand how important it is that they got to pick up the pace. They've got to get involved with their communities and with their workplaces and make sure that they know what's going on in the community, in your little world. Yes, there's wars going on in other parts of the world, but you need to understand what's going on in your community. Do you have code issues in your community? Do you have are there vagrants? What's going on in your community, and what can you do to make a difference? And that's where reaching out to community organizations and getting involved is really, really important.
Let's talk about Nancy Hall for a minute.
Oh man, she can't hear us because she's on the boat, but she is
This
an
is from,
incredible
she's from
woman.
your union.
Yes, she is the current executive vice president of CWA Local 6215. She has been an officer in the local for a little over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
She served as a secretary prior to becoming the executive vice president.
Well, she's doing a good job in the local, but
Man, she goes all over the. She's
what
been
about
to
outside the local?
She's been to Columbia.
That's right. She took on international subjects.
That's right.
She went to Columbia.
Where they kill labor leaders.
That's right.
Literally, they assassinate labor
She
leaders.
went right into the battlefield.
She sure did.
And came back and has been an advocate ever since then for fair treatment of Colombian workers.
Yes,
People that live in another country.
Exactly. She is very active. She is all about bringing these younger folks on board and helping them to see what the work has been done and what still needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
She is phenomenal.
I've seen her out with the Wal-Mart workers.
Yes, sir.
And I've seen her out on trade issues.
Yep.
I've seen her at a vigil for the unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
And she brings as many people as she can bring when she
Exactly.
does. That's Nancy Hall of Communication Workers 6215, a model woman today that we should all be emulating.
Funny.
Not because she's a woman,
No.
because she's
a strong leader. I mean,
and
that's
she's
it.
fabulous.
She is.
With real progressive
Isn't it funny
urges.
how all these women just keep coming out of CWA? I don't know what it is.
I'm waiting for somebody to call with another person that here locally that is really outstanding on labor and community issues. And Michael's on the line. Let's see what Michael has to say. Thanks for calling KNON, brother.
Hey, brother, how are ya?
Pretty good.
I think I would like to recognize the woman,
Margarita Alvarez.
Sat right there in the conference room at the KNON studios with Marguerite and George.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still in Dallas?
Margarita and Jorge still live in Dallas, but you know, the last time I tried to call him, I couldn't find him. So Margarita and Jorge, if you're listening, call me.
Call Jean, Margarita.
But did I not bring up one of the leading female organizers in the local area? Marguerite has put so much into it. If you hear from them, let me know where to reach them.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Sure will.
We'll love to do
Also,
that.
Bonnie, I'm still trying to reach Reverend Charles
Okay,
Stovall. Could you provide me with where is the parish? Where
I gave Pastor Stovall your telephone number. He's been kind of struggling
yes,
with.
I understand.
He's been struggling with some health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I understand. Okay.
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 Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
you
Michael.
can go to his church. That's Bonnie's church. Give us the address and.
That's 1408
and,
North Washington on Sunday mornings at 10:15.
10:15. No.
That is his church.
1408 North Washington.
That's right.
Okay, so he's doing services at your
Yes.
union hall then.
Every Sunday morning at 10:15.
Oh, that's great. 1408 North Washington. You can get Reverend Stovall. So, like, if you go there tomorrow morning at 10:15, you'll actually see Reverend Charles Stovall, a legend in civil rights.
That's
But
right.
we're talking more about women today, and I thought somebody would bring up another woman that's not only prominent in the labor movement and very well respected in the labor movement, but has been even more than outstanding in working with the civil rights community, other unions, other people that need help. Have you guessed who I'm talking about yet?
No.
You didn't know?
All I can think of is Allison Brim from Top because she's incredible.
Yes.
She's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Gene.
We're thinking of someone who actually reaches out into other unions and other causes, civil rights causes, a broad-minded person who brings a lot of enthusiasm into everything. And I'll give you one more hint, Bonnie.
Okay.
The person was at the action that you and I were at on, was it Wednesday?
Okay.
We went for the Farm Labor Organizing Committee.
Well, you narrowed it right down. It's got to be Judy Bryant.
Judy Bryant's an outstanding
Yes,
woman.
she
There's no
is.
question at all. She comes out of the teachers. She's the head of the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans. She's the organizer, rather.
Right.
I'm the president.
Yeah, you're the president.
But she's more important because she's the actual state organizer.
She's awesome.
She works for the National Alliance for Retired Americans, and she comes out for pretty much everything. She was there for the flock. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't actually thinking about her, Bonnie. The person that's really the most outstanding in this area is sitting right in front of me. It's you. Bonnie Mathias not only reaches into her union and performs all the jobs that have to be done in Communication Worker 6201, but she's infamous all over town for being part of everything else. And she comes to KNON. Are you getting paid any more than I am?
No. We're both getting paid the same. That would be nothing.
and for all did you get paid for going to the flock, for going to the thing with the Farm Labor Organizing Committee on Wednesday?
No.
They forgot to pay you for that.
They forgot.
One?
Yeah, and Tuesday I was in Austin with the Medicaid advocacy groups. We had about 3,000 people there. It was incredible. Representative Roberto Alonso walked up to me and said, "Man, you are everywhere."
And you certainly are.
And it's so important to me that you give back to your community and you get out there and you make sure that politicians and people know what you stand for and what you won't stand for.
Is what you stand for evident?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm wearing my Wal-Mart, my our Wal-Mart T-shirt today because I'm going grocery shopping for my mother-in-law when I leave, and I go to Wal-Mart for her. And I love wearing my our Wal-Mart shirt and my CWA jacket.
Yeah, and letting people know what you stand for.
Yeah.
So if you're just listening to this on the radio and you're not actually watching us on Two Hats Publishing, which is the YouTube version. Doc is here filming this whole thing and putting it on YouTube. If you're not watching it on YouTube, then you can't see this bright neon green shirt that Bonnie is wearing. And she's wearing that for a reason that might embarrass you to say this on the radio, Bonnie, but you love those people.
I do.
You love those people. The ones that work in for Wal-Mart and need help, need to get organized, need some kind of inspiration, need to know that somebody else is backing them up. And just go into the grocery store, you're going to wear your neon green T-shirt.
That's right, because I want them to know somebody else cares.
That's our Bonnie Mathias. And is it too early to start building statues of you?
Oh, God, no, it's not.
I suppose.
It's not. And several people have said, how come you don't run for a public office?
Uh-huh.
I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that. I want to be the person that's holding those people who are elected accountable for what they've said during their campaign speeches that they're going to do. I want to be the one that says, you're not doing what you said you were going to do.
Mm-hmm. If you think Bonnie Mathias should run for public office, call 972-647-1893. And really, I think you should too, because if you have the opportunity to do more, you're shirking if you don't. If you can think of more stuff that you could be doing, or some more ways to help, and then you don't, then you're shirking. So that's my opinion. You should run for public office. Anybody got an opinion on that? It's 972-647-1893. We're talking about women that we admire.
Yes. And Nancy Lee is another one, the treasurer of my local. She has been in the labor movement for 35 years.
The first time I remember meeting her, I had just gotten into the Dallas AFL-CIO because, for a long time, my union wasn't a member.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We joined, I believe, in 1998.
Okay.
I actually wrote a letter to the national UAW, said, why aren't we members? And they wrote back and said, well, we're supposed to be members. And so I showed that letter around all over the place, and I don't know if that helped or not, but anyway, we joined.
That's excellent.
In 1998. And the first thing that I remember was Nancy Lee proposing a Labor Day march. She wanted to have a Labor Day parade downtown, and she and Nancy Hall, the two Nancys, were working on a parade, a Labor Day parade in downtown Dallas. This never did happen. What happened was they had a disgrace. They had a little scandal in the Dallas AFL-CIO. They changed the principal officers.
Wow.
One night, late one night.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And,
little shake-up, huh?
And the idea of the Labor Day parade for that year just went away.
Wow.
We used to have them. You know, I have a picture of a Labor Day parade from 1947.
Really?
It was a car caravan. And frankly, I think we should start doing that again. Car caravans are neat.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, that was my first remembrance of Nancy Lee, was working on a Labor Day parade. And
she's a pretty phenomenal lady.
I thought, boy, what have I gotten into?
Right. What's wrong with these people?
No, I thought it was wonderful. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven.
It's right up your alley.
when I first started getting in the Dallas AFL-CIO, and I still think so. Yeah. They passed a resolution in favor of the national AFL-CIO's position on immigration, and they passed it unanimously.
They did.
That was just amazing. I thought, oh boy, there's going to be some trouble here.
Yeah,
because I know that individuals don't feel that way. Individuals are still distrustful of each other, and we carry all kinds of prejudices. We can't be blamed for it exactly because that's the culture that we were brought up in.
Right.
I'm old enough to remember, I know you're not, but I'm old enough to remember separate water fountains and separate bathrooms and separate schools. I was bused right past the black school. They bused me about 12 miles, and the last 2 miles of it was past the high school, or the school where all the black kids went to in Ada, Oklahoma. And I went on to my school and never even thought about anything about it. So I'm old enough to remember when segregation was the law of the land and the rule of thumb for everything. So we made great changes.
Yes, we have.
And thank goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
But we can't help but have the attitudes of the people around us as we were brought up. What we have to change.
We can grow out of that.
Well, we can, but that's like an individual problem, or a psychological problem.
Right.
The problem for the union movement, the problem for everybody who wants to see progress in society, is that we have to learn to work together whether we like them or not. Whether we want to be associated with someone else who's a little different from us or not. We don't have to get over it. We just we don't have to change. We just have to get over it.
That's right.
Because
move on.
That's when the best thing that's happened was when President Obama was first nominated. The president of the AFL-CIO gave a speech, and he said, I know that some of you are not going to want to support him because the man's black. He said, get over it. Because we have to win this.
Yeah.
We have to win this. He didn't say, now search your heart and make your heart change, or something like that. He said, get over it. Because if you want to win, you have to have everybody else. Right now, it's the same thing with the LGBT community, for example, and with the undocumented immigrants.
That's right.
We have to have them. The rest of us, if we want to win, we have to join with everybody else. If we want to win, we have to work with women. And you carry all kinds of prejudices that you want to carry or something like that if you must, but get over it when it comes to forming your union and
making things happen.
And winning.
That's it.
It's either winning or losing. Yeah, there's only two sides.
I went to a top immigration meeting a few weeks ago.
Now, tell what TOP is.
TOP is Texas Organizing Project. If you look, we have a website, organizingtexas.org. We also have a great Facebook page, and we'll talk about TOP when we get back.
Tell you all a story that's close to me. A worker who's leaning on a bended knee. Sword and tattered in such a... Would you help the words divine?
This is Sonny Boy Mark, and I'd like to take a minute here to tell you about over 60 minutes of great blues listening available now on KNON's Texas Blues Radio Volume 5 Blues CD. This is some great stuff, folks. 15 tracks, from the Two-Tones, Blues Boy Bo, Betty Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone with Charlie Love, David Millsap, Sir Loin and the Ass-Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. The 1,000 copies we made are selling fast, and we won't reissue it. Get yours now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Record Town in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records and Rewind Music. The CD is available as a download at cdbaby.com. All proceeds benefit KNON, sponsored by Forever Young Records. Vinyl copies available at Forever Young Records only. For more info on Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, visit knon.org. Your ears been bending for some blues? Well, feed them the real thing with Texas Blues Radio Volume 5.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballast, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com.
This is William, your videographer for the KNON talk shows. You can watch Workers Beat by going to knon.org website. Click on schedules to the left side of your screen. Choose Workers Beat's page. Scroll to the bottom of the page, then choose your favorite show to watch or download. This show will be ready for viewing by lunchtime Tuesday. Have a great day.
I wake up in the morning at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive.
We're back on the Workers Beat. You can call us at 972-647-1893. And we've got a caller waiting. Joe, just a minute. Let's let Bonnie finish her story.
Okay, Texas Organizing Project. Awesome organization. I was at an immigration meeting, and a lady stood up. She was brought here by her parents when she was an infant. She is, I don't know, in her 40s. She's been trying to become a citizen of this country for 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tunde Albaze is another perfect example. 15 years it took him. Now, he came here legally, and it took him 15 years to become a citizen.
Right.
We have obviously got issues with our immigration system.
Right.
It has to be fixed.
Okay, let's see what Joe has to say. Thanks for calling KNON, Joe. Good morning.
Yes, hello. I'm for women having pregnancy leave.
Good for you, Joe.
And I'm going to say this here to the men. They better sign that thing, because, you know, one thing, they sure going to want some vagina when they go home. But they better sign it.
Okie doke.
They better sign it.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. And we ought to give a little kudos to the mayor, too, because the mayor's putting on a march against violence.
The 23rd.
Against women.
That's right.
And I expect to be at that.
I will be there as well.
But you know what I did miss? I missed the rally to shut down the privatized jail
I missed
downtown.
that too last night.
And,
yeah.
you know, I looked at my watch, and it was 5:45, and the thing started at 6, and I said, I don't think I can drag myself to another action.
I was in the same. I had grievances yesterday, and I had a bunch of stuff going on, and I kept looking at my watch. I was still at the office. It was 5 minutes to 6, and I went, you know what?
That was
I'm really tired.
Thursday night. And of course, we had our Alliance for Retired Americans meeting that day, which I had to run out on. We were doing a play on Lucy Parsons. Speaking of Lucy Parsons, of all the Texas women in labor, I think that Lucy Parsons deserves the highest place in history, because after her husband was hanged, because she was a union organizer before that in Chicago in 1886. But after her husband was hanged in November of 1887, she spent the rest of her life helping unions and helping people get organized, helping women. She led a march for immigrants' rights from Hull House in 1915. She was the main leader of the march, and this was the first public performance of the song Solidarity, which is, of course, labor's anthem today. So Lucy Parsons, just pretty much on her own, just a poor black woman who never had a lot of money behind her or a big organization or anything like that, but she had a principled stand in favor of working people, and she was a known activist from the mid-1880s until her death in 1943.
Wow.
She died in an accidental fire in her home.
Oh,
she was still cooking on a wood stove.
Wow.
And that's how Lucy Parsons came to meet her end. But she was born just a little bit south of Fort Worth in Johnson County, and married Albert Parsons, former Confederate soldier, and he and she were active in Chicago. Well, they were active here. He was in the Typographers Union, which is now part of your union, CWA. And then they went to Chicago, where he was a leader of the 8-hour day movement.
Wow.
And that's why they hanged him. He had nothing to do with the so-called Haymarket Massacre, where some police got killed. But he wasn't even there. Albert and Lucy were having dinner at a restaurant far away.
But they assumed.
Uh-huh. Well, they killed him because he was involved in the 8-hour day movement, and they hanged all of the main leaders of the 8-hour day movement in 1887. And then and Lucy went on, though, to fight not only for what Albert had been for and the 8-hour day and that sort of thing, but for every progressive cause that came along. And I think she kind of bent the stick toward women's rights. And she was a founding member of the IWW, the Industrial Workers of the World, which I believe it was in 1901. But she was a charter member of that. She's sitting up front when they started the Industrial Workers of the World. And of course, this is the most picturesque and romantic period in American history, was the Industrial Workers of the World from around 1901 to around 1928, when the government repression finally got to be more than they could handle. And they're still around. They're still IWW. They still have their traditions, and they still have their songbooks, and there are still people who want to be in the IWW. But they had a great upsurge between 1901 and 1928. My home state of Oklahoma had IWW still organizing agricultural workers, and successfully, in 1928.
Wow.
Everybody thinks Cesar Chavez thought of the idea of organizing farm workers, but actually there were farm worker organizations long before that. As early as 1914, I believe, the Industrial Workers of the World formed their agricultural committee.
Wow.
Well, Lucy Parsons, anyway, was outstanding, not only because she was a union leader and all that, but she was also an African American during very difficult times.
She didn't have a right to vote as a woman or an African American.
Right.
So, I really have to look up to her for what she did, because
what she endured.
What she endured. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Just being an African American during those times was difficult enough, but then you throw being a woman and an activist on top of that. Man, she probably endured a lot of pain and suffering and ridicule. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
It was the difficulties of today multiplied by 10 or 20, something like that.
Yeah.
And yet she endured it and never put down her principles until 1943, when she died. I don't know how old she must have been. She was in her 80s, I guess.
Wow.
She was born in 1853, died in 1941, so I guess she was almost 90.
Almost 90, yeah.
And all that time, a fighter. And she came from Texas. So that's one we can really, really, really be proud of.
That's awesome.
Another woman in history that I'm proud of, and even though we don't know beans about her, is Jane Elkins, because we've talked about this on the program before. Jane Elkins murdered her master.
Yep.
And I thought that was a lot better than a lot of slaves.
Right.
Because I think a lot of the slaves, just sort of resigned themselves to it and put up with it, and they deserve credit for just enduring.
Absolutely.
If you wake up in the morning and decide not to kill yourself, then you've done pretty good.
You've done well.
But if you manage to take out your master before you get hanged, then I think that's something of an accomplishment too. So Jane Elkins is another person that I think we can admire in Texas history, in Texas labor history. It's still going on. The battle's still going on. We've talked about a lot of women that are active today that are making a difference. Among them, Bonnie Mathias. Among them, Becky Moeller, president of the Texas AFL-CIO. You talked about Nancy Lee and Nancy Hall from your union. There's an organizer whose name I can't remember from the United Food and Commercial Workers that's very outstanding, and another one from from Transport Workers Union that are doing a great job, not only for their own union, but the reason I know these people is because I'm around the Wal-Mart people.
Right.
And if you're interested in union organizing, and if you want to see organizing as the solution to the problems that beset us today, then you got to be involved in the Wal-Mart organizing drive, because organizing Wal-Mart is symbolically and in real terms the most important thing that's going on in organizing in America today.
And I believe that our Wal-Mart organizing campaign has really kicked off some other organizing movements in the fast food industry in New York.
They had a strike for fast food workers in New York.
And because they had poor wages and poor working conditions and no benefits, they also targeted Target on the East Coast and had a big strike there, which was great. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Target, but because they do pay a little bit more than Walmart. And they haven't been caught like Wal-Mart has, forcing people to work off the clock and so forth. Walmart is, I hate to say it, they're evil. They are evil, evil, evil.
Well, they've set a pattern too.
Oh, horrible pattern.
Their idea is to make as much money as they possibly can, and
screw everybody else. Yeah.
And that's just basic capitalism.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Walmart just turned out to be better at it than other retailers, and they've driven the other retailers either completely out of business or they're in some kind of crisis because Walmart has undercut them. And the way they did that was by screwing their employees. Yep. And they continue to do that.
There's more Walmart.
If you're against that process, then you want to organize Walmart.
Right, because there's more, folks, if you pay taxes, you are helping to support Walmart workers, because about 80% of Walmart workers across the country are receiving some type of government assistance, whether it be housing or food stamps, or they can't afford the benefits, the health benefits. So you can bet that when they get ill, they end up in the emergency room, which is where we pick up the tab. It's really, really sad when we have one Walmart or one Walton here in Texas is one of the richest persons in the world.
Right? She was listed in Forbes' list of, and in
number
Texas,
4?
I think she was number 1 for Texas.
I think in the world she's like number 4.
Lives a little bit
something.
west of Fort Worth, Alice Walton.
Good old Alice.
And so we're for organizing, and consequently, the Walmart drive is critical. Good thing happened on that last week. Rosemary Rieger is organizing a meeting for people who want to help Walmart, and that will take place toward the end of this month. Wow. I think she's looking at March 22nd or 3rd. I believe it's a Tuesday.
Would you forward that information to me, please? I'd like to.
As soon as it gets solidified.
Okay.
But the Walmart people are modest like everyone else, and so consequently they're not just going around beating on people's doors and saying you got to help us.
That's right.
But really they should.
And they have to be.
We need to beat on those doors for them.
Absolutely.
Right here on KNON.
That's it. These folks have to be careful, because there have been folks that have been fired for trying to organize. Now, a lot of them have regained their jobs because of the actions of the National Labor Relations Board making rulings, but it's a fine line.
Right.
Because Walmart can fire you for something else entirely. If you were 2 minutes late coming back from lunch, they can fire you for that, and say, well, we didn't fire them for organizing.
Right.
We fired them for coming back late from lunch.
Molly Ivins, we should mention Molly Ivins when we're talking about great women Texans.
Oh, my. Ann
Because she
Richards,
stood
Molly
up to them all.
Ooh.
She wasn't afraid to call them what to call them.
A shrub, a shrub.
In fact, people are still using some of the epithets that she came up with. They call George Bush Jr. They call him Shrub because he's a little bush.
Great book. Great book, by the way.
And Governor Goodhair was one of her epithets for the governor that we still suffer under.
Governor Fancy Hair.
So she's another one that needs to be remembered as we talk about great women in Texas.
Ann Richards, Cecile Richards.
Cecile Richards is still going on, fighting for women's rights.
That's right.
And standing up. They had a demonstration last week for Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
And that's basically for women's medical care. There's several things that are going to come up on the budget crisis. They call it the budget crisis. I call it the austerity crisis because it's worldwide. It's the same thing that's going on in Europe. But when they're talking about Europe, they call it austerity. But when they talk about it in the United States, they call it the budget crisis, as if it weren't the same thing. But there are 4 more coming up crises that you may as well be aware of.
Manufactured crises, I might say.
On March 27th, it's possible that the Republicans will shut down the government over the continuing resolution. The continuing resolution funds the government until September. And so they could, if they set their heels in and decided to, and they've done this before, so don't discount that they might do it, shut down the government on March 27th. On April the 15th is the congressional budget deadline for the year. The year actually begins for them on October the 1st. That's the federal fiscal year. So the congressional budget deadline is April the 15th. And then on May 18th, they get another chance to shut the government down if that's the debt ceiling. If Congress if Congress is blocked from action, the government can't pay its bills. So I've only named 3 crises.
Yeah, what's the 4th one?
The 4th one is ours. Our crisis is the ongoing unemployment, the continuous lowering of our wages, the continuous raising of our local taxes and tax burden, and the general suffering of the American people, the gigantic numbers of people who have been unemployed for more than 2 years.
Yeah. It's horrible.
This is the real crisis in America, not the debt crisis. They're making that up.
I listened to a man this morning. He's 56 years old. He is unemployed. He sent out 200 applications, resumes during 2012. He had six interviews. And he said some of them will put you through, the drug testing and the psychological testing and all of this, maybe 2 or 3 interviews, and then you never hear from them again. Of course, because you're 56 years old. Who wants a 56-year-old worker in their workplace? Because A, you want too much money, they think, or B, you're always going to be looking for something better, and you're just too old.
Right. We're out of time. We're talking about the big crisis that we're all facing, the big burden that's being put on us while the wealthy people try to walk away. And we want you to join us on KNON next week, Bonnie and I. And whether you can or not, join us on the street. Bonnie and I are not afraid to get out on the street, and you shouldn't be afraid either. Besides, it's kind of fun.
It really is.
So
you would have thought we were going to rob 7-Eleven's headquarters the other day. There was police everywhere, and there's like 12 of us on the corner. Okay.
we appreciate so much the people that do help, and we appreciate you for listening. We'll be back next week.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.